Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost. Here's a roundup of stories from across the world. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected Hamas's proposal for ceasefire. He said that a total victory in Gaza was within Israel's reach. Hamas had proposed a ceasefire of 4.5 months. During this, they pledged to release all the remaining Israeli hostages. Following the truce period, Hamas demanded Israel withdraw its troops from Gaza and end the war. However, Israel ruled out anything other than a temporary ceasefire. A Hamas delegation led by senior Hamas official Khalil Al-Hayya will travel to Cairo today. This is to pursue renewed ceasefire talks with mediators from Egypt and Qatar. Meanwhile, Hamas said that Netanyahu's insistence on continuing the war showed his aggression against Palestinians. Two Israeli airstrikes targeted residential homes in a neighborhood in Rafah. At least 13 people have died in the attack. This includes 2 women and 5 children. The airstrikes followed 2 other airstrikes in the region. According to Gaza's health ministry, nearly 28,000 Palestinians have been killed so far. Israeli forces killed 3 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. This was during a raid on a refugee camp. Israel's military said it killed a wanted suspect. It added that 2 more fighters who tried to escape were also killed in the operation. The US conducted a retaliatory strike in the Iraqi capital of Baghdad on Wednesday. The strikes killed a senior commander, Abu Bakr al-Sadi of Kataib Hezbollah. Kataib Hezbollah is an Iran-backed armed group in Iraq. Al-Sadi and 2 of his guards were in a vehicle when it was targeted. This comes after 3 US troops were killed in Jordan last month. Pentagon had blamed Kataib Hezbollah for the attack. 5 US Marines have been missing after their helicopter went down in the mountains in California. The wreckage of the helicopter was found 72 kilometers away from its destination. Officials are conducting a search and rescue effort for the 5 crew members. The crew had been on a routine training flight. Republican lawmakers have blocked a bipartisan border security package. The legislation intended to cut back record numbers of illegal border crossings. It also includes $60 billion in wartime aid to Ukraine and $14 billion for Israel. Republicans insisted that the money for Ukraine and Israel be paid and given to help fight the border crisis. North Korea has voted to scrap all agreements signed with South Korea on promoting economic cooperation. The latest decision comes after Pyongyang declared Seoul its main enemy last month. Relations between the 2 Koreas have been in a deadlock. Earlier, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un also ordered its military to prepare for a potential war. Pakistanis have begun voting in the country's general election. Prime Ministerial contender Nawaz Sharif was seen casting his votes this morning. Sharif's party, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, is widely expected to emerge as the single largest party in the polls. The country is on high alert with tens of thousands of soldiers on duty. Meanwhile, authorities have temporarily suspended mobile phone services across the country. Azerbaijani President Ilham Alev looks set to secure a 5th term in office. Voting has concluded and initial results showed the incumbent leading by a majority. This comes as the 2 main opposition parties are boycotting the polls. There's been a leak of radioactive water at Japan's Fukushima Dai nuclear power plant. The Tokyo Electric Power informed of the leakage yesterday. More than 5.5 metric tons of radioactive water containing 22 billion becquerels of radioactive substances was leaked. This was after valves on water treatment equipment were left open during maintenance work. At least 5 agents of Haiti's armed environmental agency were killed. This was during a shootout with national police in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. The clash follows days of protests across the country. Protests erupted as residents complained of rising crime and gang violence in the country. Haitians have been asking Prime Minister Ariel Henry to resign amid rising violence. In Slovakia, people protested outside the country's parliament on Wednesday. They were demonstrating against the government's plan to lower punishments for people charged for corruption. The government is also looking to scrap the office that probes high-profile crimes. Slovakia's parliament is expected to vote on the proposed reforms today. In climate news, European Union scientists found that January was the world's hottest month on record. The exceptional heat was fueled by climate change. The study comes a month after 2023 was deemed as Earth's hottest year on record. Meanwhile, Spain's Environment Ministry reported January as the warmest record since 1961. The average temperatures in the month touched 8.5 degrees Celsius. The world will transition into the La Nina weather pattern from the current El Nino. According to meteorologists and agricultural analysts, La Nina could bring more rain to the regions of Australia, Southeast Asia and India, while drier weathers might be experienced across American regions. A landslide in southern Philippines region killed at least 6 people. Army personnel, police and volunteers rescued 31 people who were stuck. The landslide occurred outside a gold mining site in Mako town, where buses were picking up employees after their shifts. Over 750 families have been evacuated to safer zones after the landslide. The rescue operations are underway to find at least 45 missing people. Cyclone Olga has buried the Russian capital of Moscow under thick snow. The snowfall drastically reduced visibility, which complicated the traffic situation. The authorities advised people to travel on public transport instead of using their private ones. According to meteorologists, Cyclone Olga will affect several regions of Russia. Deadly wildfires in Chile have finally been contained. The wildfire was extinguished by the joint efforts of over 2,000 firefighters. The forest emergency, which began on 2nd of February, has killed at least 131 people. The disastrous wildfires raced through the central Chile region, burning houses, fields and lands. Over 15,000 homes were affected by the fire. The number of monarch butterflies which visit Mexico's forests to hibernate has fallen down to 60%. This is according to Mexico's National Commission of Protected Natural Areas. The declining population is due to the high temperatures and droughts at breeding sites. This has further reduced the availability of milkweeds on which butterflies lay their eggs. The use of pesticides has also affected their migratory routes. The Queensland government greenlit a mega coal mine project. Environmentalists say the mines pose unacceptable threats to the human rights of the residents. The mine could generate 15 million tons of coal annually for 28 years. The project will emit 538 million tons of greenhouse gas, which is more than Australia's annual gas emissions. The mine will clear hectares of land, which endangered the habitats of various animals like koalas and pigeons. On to business and tech news. India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, has once again opted to retain key interest rates. This is the 6th time rates have been kept unchanged at 6.5%. The RBI suggested that battle against inflation is not yet over. However, going forward, inflation is expected to remain under the government's mandated limit. Uber Technologies posted an annual profit of $1.89 billion in 2023. This is the first yearly profit after the firm debuted in the stock market in 2019. Better user retention and initiatives like membership, corporate travel and advertising have helped the ride-hailing firm become profitable. Alibaba Group's third quarter results failed to meet market expectations. The Chinese e-commerce giant reported over $36.7 billion in revenue for this quarter. This was lower than the market projection of $36.8 billion. Analysts said that Alibaba's sales were impacted by low demand in the retail market and weaker economic recovery in China. Total Energies has reported over 30% drop in its fourth quarter profit. The French oil giant's quarterly profits stood at $5.4 billion. This is far lower than $6.5 billion reported in the same period last year. The profit declined mainly due to lower oil prices. Energy firm profits have taken a hit after crude prices fell drastically in 2023. Warner Music Group, the US record label, is laying off 600 employees. This represents about 10% of the group's total workforce. The layoffs are expected to save $200 million for the company. Job cuts will mainly impact ad sales teams of the firm. Tesla employees are bracing for a possible layoff. A report says that Tesla managers have been asked to assess whether employees working under them are essential for the firm. Tesla has also cancelled some employee performance reviews. Recently, Tesla CEO Elon Musk talked about cost-cutting efforts at the firm to manage the sales slowdown. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that artificial intelligence-backed business will be critical for India's economy. This as economy reaches the $5 trillion mark. Nadella said AI could account for over 10% of the $5 trillion Indian economy. The Indian government aims to grow the country's GDP to $5 trillion by 2025. Microsoft CEO is on a two-day visit in India. Chip maker Nvidia is on the verge of surpassing Amazon in market value. The company shares have gained over 40% so far this year. As of now, Nvidia's stock market valuation reportedly stands around $1.71 trillion, just 3% lower than Amazon's $1.76 trillion. The firm has been favored by investors due to its artificial intelligence chips. Nvidia's chips power many generative AI tools that are already in the market today. Shares of chipmaker ARM surged over 40% yesterday. This is after the company reported over $87 million in quarterly profits. Market was also enthusiastic over the company's fourth quarter projections. ARM expects up to $900 million in revenue in the next 3 months. The market has pegged this number to be far lower, around $778 million. Walt Disney will invest around $1.5 billion in the esports firm Epic Games. Disney will work with the Fortnite developer to bring new content. This includes an interactive Disney universe that will feature famous Disney characters. These products are expected to debut in August next year. And moving to sports, in cricket, Indian batter Virat Kohli will reportedly miss the upcoming test against England. He missed the first 2 tests and is unlikely to return for the next 2 in Rajkot and Ranchi. Kohli had cited personal reasons for his absence from the fixtures. It's still not clear if he will feature in the 5th and the final match in Dharamshala. India and England are playing a 5-match test series, with both sides having won 1 match each. India's Jasprit Bumrah zoomed into history books to become the first Indian fast bowler to top the ICC Test rankings. He claimed the #1 spot as the best pacer in the men's bowling list. Bumrah's feat comes against the backdrop of his heroics in the ongoing Test series against England, where he had a 9-wicket haul and gave away just 91 runs against England in Visakhapatnam. Australia's Mitchell Marsh has tested positive for COVID-19. This blow comes ahead of the team's T20 international fixtures against West Indies. That was supposed to be the perfect lead-up to the upcoming T20 International World Cup in June. Marsh was named skipper for the first 3-match series that starts tomorrow. However, he will be allowed to play the game, but he's been directed to maintain distance from others while on the field. Over to updates in football. It's the home stretch at the AFC Asian 2023 that's being hosted by Qatar. They beat Iran 3-2 in a nail-biter of a semi-final clash yesterday. Striker Almoez Ali struck the winning goal for the hosts to wrap up the match. Qatar, who are also the defending champions, will lock horns with Jordan in the final. Meanwhile, the norm of punching above your weight at the AFC continued as Jordan stunned Asian giant South Korea 2-0 in the semi-final clash. Yazan Al-Naimat and Musa Al-Tamari scored second-half goals during the match. This will be Jordan's maiden final appearance at the AFC Asian Cup. After a no-show in Hong Kong which caused quite a stir, Argentine star Lionel Messi was back in action in Japan yesterday. He took to the field during the second half as a substitute. The match between Inter Miami and Japan's Vessel Kobe ended with Messi's team losing 3-4 on a penalty shootout. Egypt has named Hossam Hassan their new national football team captain. Hassan is Egypt's all-time scorer and will replace former coach Vitoria, who was sacked after Egypt crashed out of the Africa Cup of Nations at the last 16 stage. Over in tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic is set to grace the Indian Wells. He will return to the BNP Paribas Open for the first time in 5 years. Djokovic last featured in the 2019 edition of the tournament and will be in pursuit of his 6th record title in the Southern California desert. He did not play the last 4 years because he wasn't vaccinated against COVID. In athletics, Spain's World 5,000-meter silver medalist Mo Kathir has been handed a provisional ban. The 25-year-old had missed doping tests last year. Kathir denies any wrongdoing and will contest the ban given by the Athletics Integrity Unit. The organizers of the 2026 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games unveiled the official mascots yesterday. The mascots are two stoat siblings who are named Tina and Milo. Tina, the light-coated stoat, is the official mascot for the Winter Olympics, while Milo is for the Winter Paralympics. Their names are derived from the host cities, Tina from Cortina and Milo from Milano. In entertainment news, Taylor Mania has hit Japan. Singer Taylor Swift is performing for the first time in Tokyo City. Hordes of fans from across the globe have come to Tokyo to listen to their favorite singer. Swift is performing at 4 nights of sold-out shows that started on 7th of February. Meanwhile, Taylor Swift's hit Eras Tour film will premiere on Disney+. The OTT version will feature an extended version of the film, which will include 5 songs that were not a part of the theatrical release. The film will start streaming from March 15th. Actor Kevin Spacey is making a comeback in Hollywood. He will return to the screen 8 months after he was acquitted of sexual assault charges. The trailer of his upcoming film Peter 5'8" was released, which features Spacey as a hitman. The film will hit the theatres on 22nd March. And the sea has called Moana again. Disney announced that the sequel of Moana will release in theatres on November 27 this year. The sequel was initially developed as a TV series, but the makers changed it to a film later. The lead character of Moana will embark on deep-sea adventures in the new film. Barbie actor Maro Robbie has landed herself a new film. According to reports, she will be seen on the silver screen in upcoming film A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Robbie has been paired with Batman actor Colin Farrell. The shooting schedule will begin soon in California. Actors Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal and Chris Evans are in talks to lead the upcoming film The Materialists. The romantic comedy will be directed by Canadian director Celine Song. In 2023, Song revealed that The Materialists is a follow-up to the film Past Lives. The story set in New York follows a matchmaker who gets involved with a wealthy man. Warner Brothers Studios has won the rights to the upcoming film of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. The film is based on a script written by Coogler. It is being called an original genre film. The film will mark fifth collaboration between Coogler and Jordan. And a premiere of the upcoming film Dune Part 2 was organized in the Mexico City. Actors including Zendaya, Florence Pugh and Timothée Chalamet were in attendance at their glamorous avatars. The actors indulged in spending time with their fans before heading to the premiere. Dune Part 2 will release in theatres on 15th of March. Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld will soon be stepping away from his duties from the Marvel Studios. He's the man who brought Ryan Reynolds' anti-hero character alive on screen. Liefeld has decided to retire after his book for Marvel is complete. He's credited to have written and illustrated over 1,000 Deadpool pages since the character's debut in 1990. And a fundraiser campaign was organized for a Marvel Studios crew member who died on the sets. Friends, family members and well-wishers raised an amount of $120,000 within 24 hours. The money will help crew members' family to stand back on their feet. 41-year-old Juan Osorio was working on Marvel's Wonder Man film when he fell off the rafters and died.